All right, joining us now is retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Dan Karbler. Lieutenant General, thank you for joining us now. All right, so what do you make of all this entire situation that you're seeing now? Why do you think the U.S. chose now to strike?
Yeah, first off, we had the element of surprise. As you read the different reports and hear the different reports, it was a large assembly of all of the leadership, the supreme leader all the way down. And so the U.S. military demonstrated an incredible ability to be responsive and agile and quick, connected with the targeting of that particular location. So the opportunity was there, and our forces took advantage of it. And I think more broadly, what you're seeing here really are kind of the classic elements of deterrence playing out in real time. There's three parts of classic deterrence. You have the ability to impose unacceptable cost. We've seen that over the last month's worth of buildup of our forces in the Middle East. Then you have to be able to deny the adversary any kind of benefit for their attacks. Again, we've seen our missile defense forces arrayed around the Gulf. Our Gulf partners with their missile defense forces have done an admirable job thus far of really negating any kind of attacks from Iran. And then the last part, and probably the most important part of the classic elements of deterrence, is to make sure that we have credible messaging. Frankly, when President Trump says he's going to do something, he did it. Now, whether you agree with it or not, he did it. So like I said, we now have seen the three elements of classic deterrence, strategic deterrence playing out right before us.
Right. So, Lieutenant General, knowing that the Supreme Leader is now dead, what are the next steps for leadership in Iran? Is it militarily? What would that actually look like?
Yeah, it's going to be messy. I don't know that anybody has a real good crystal ball to figure out what will happen. There's going to be a leadership void in there. When you take 40 of your key leaders out, who is going to step into the void? I think another part of that's important is how are our Gulf allies? How will they respond? How will they help contribute to providing some stability into Iran? And then we always have to keep kind of those third-party actors out there too. How are China and Russia going to try to also fill that void, that leadership void there, and try to influence now what might happen next?
Right. We were speaking to Marcus Moore not that long ago, and we showed live footage of Tel Aviv, and we essentially saw interceptor missiles, that Iron Dome that they have there, essentially active. So what kind of missiles are U.S. forces up against in that region right now?
Yeah, Iran has the largest complement of missiles in the Middle East. Everything from kind of simple ballistic missiles called the Fatah 110, very short-range ballistic missile, to the potential to attack with hypersonic missiles. And what we've seen here really is just a fantastic job by U.S. and our Gulf partners and their missile defense forces in terms of intercepting and keeping all of those defended assets safe. So yeah, a whole host of everything from short-range ballistic missiles, again, about 60 miles, they just kind of fire across the Persian Gulf, to ones they reside deeper in the country of Iran, travel thousands of miles, not just into the Gulf, our Gulf partners, but can travel all the way to Israel, and frankly can travel into Europe. And so there's a part of this equation too that they have missiles that could threaten some of Europe. So that's why you'll continue to see these attacks go on. One of President Trump's objectives was also to eliminate their ability to employ ballistic missiles and to fire ballistic missiles. So I think as we continue to see days, weeks, however long it goes on, we will continue to prosecute those targets.
All right. Retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Dan Karbler. Appreciate that.